Hey guys, it's Kelly. Hey, I can't believe I got this down to like an hour. It was an hour and 10 minutes. I got it down to 16 minutes. So I'm using my Render No Show Through paper journal. It's a sketchbook, and that paper that I'm using is gessoed over, and I gessoed over the examples that I showed in a previous video how this paper really is no show through. And there's alcohol ink under there, there's Sharpies, everything you can think of is underneath there, just to show you that it doesn't go through to the back side of the paper. It's a great sketchbook. I use it for art journaling, but it is not watercolor paper, so when you get it wet it coils up and curls and stuff like that, so you'll be aware of that, but I still love it for art journal. So I'm using my gelatos. Now my gelatos are actually the Faber-Castell gel sticks, because they're so much cheaper. It's like $12 for 11 of them, and then like $5 or $6 for the metallic ones, and I got them from Amazon. I don't know if they still have them, but they're the same thing as gelatos, just gelatos have some really cool colors. These are pretty much standard colors, but like you'd find in a crayon box, I would think, because these were specifically, the gel sticks are actually like for children. But I love them, they work great, they're just like gelatos as far as consistency and how they flow and how they blend. But again, you don't get the cool color variations, but holy cow, I got $11, I got 12 colors. For $10, you get 3. I think it's like 3 or 4 at the craft stores. It's ridiculous, but I do like their different colors that they have available, so that would be something to choose on your own. And the reason I'm getting into this is because I had somebody specifically ask about them. So I left a lot of the playing with the colors in here so you can see how they flow. You can use your finger, you can use a brush with just a little bit of water, and then you'll see how they blend. So that's my brush, and I just put a little bit of water, and then I blended the yellow into the purple. Then I put my brush back in water, dab off the color on my baby wipe, and then go to the next color. If you just mix them all together, you're going to wind up with mud. So you have to, you know, if you want them separated, like I wanted this one separated, you have to do that. So just get your brush wet, just a little wet, not a lot, and swipe it across the color, and then blend them together. And then once you switch to a different color, just wipe off your brush and wet it again. So once I dried it, and the cool thing about these gelatos too is that once they're dry, even though you get them wet, once they're dry, they're permanent. They're not going to bleed again. So, well, usually I had an issue with that, but I think the color was just too darn light. And it didn't dry either. So my blue and my green, when I laid that down, I didn't dry it all the way, so when I got it wet again, it smeared again on me. So, and I'll show you, just so you can see how they behave for anybody who's new to the gelatos or gel sticks. You can kind of see. And see how the blue and the green is just, I like the streaking effect, I think that looks cool. But the blue and the green wasn't working, so I wound up putting the darker color of the blue down, and then the darker green, and that fixed the problem. And I got impatient. I didn't dry the colors in between. If I was drying in between, the colors would have been even more vibrant. So, see, I'm slapping it down. You can even put it down when it's wet. So, and this is a background, so it didn't have to be absolutely perfect. I was perfectly okay with it not being perfect. You can see some of the texture of the gessoed background, because I put it on really thick, because I had that alcohol ink and permanent marker underneath it. So and then I just dried it up, and you see how it changes a little bit. It gets a little bit lighter. So what I'm doing, that is a plastic ring that's left over from the sticky red tape that you buy at the craft store. It was an 1/8 of an inch size, and I saved it because I knew I wanted to stamp with it or stencil with it or something. So I'm just using my black archival ink, and I'm stamping with it. And then that is the plastic ring that's left over from the Scotch ATG the tape gun, and it has that cool texture in it. I love that one. and then it almost has a gear look to it. And then that's the same one, and I'm just inking portions of it so that it would be coming off the page. And then that is a plain Scotch tape plastic roll when you're at the end of the tape. It's what holds the tape on. And that's a double ring. Even though you can't see it all the way through, I love how it doesn't stamp perfect. And yeah, I needed more of that one because I really like that one. So, and then I dry that up so my ink won't smudge when I stamp some more. It's a bright, colorful page. I was all over the place with this page. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought it was going to be flowers and butterflies, but it wasn't. That's an Ink-a-Dink-a-Doo stamp set, and I really love that stamp set. It's really, really versatile. I use it for a lot of things. Sorry if you can hear my kids in the background. There's really no name on this stamp set, but the number from the code number is 97631. I bet if you put that in on Amazon, you might be able to find it. But it's a great stamp set to have in your arsenal if you don't have one already like it. It's got like imperfect circles and like splattered circles. There's other ones out there that are better than this one, but I don't know, I like this one because it can go whimsical or it can go retro, it can go all kinds of different styles. So, and I'm just stamping them on there kind of randomly. And I like when you stamp, you know, the first time you stamp it's all dark, and then, you know, just to stamp it out on your page. I think that adds depth to it. So, and I like that there's some real dark and some real light. It just pulls your eye around it. I think depth is the right way to describe that. And then this little swirly giga thingamajigger. Yeah, my block wouldn't go down all the way because of the ring binding, so I just jammed my finger underneath there and pushed the paper up to the stamp. It wasn't perfect, but I didn't care. I like the imperfection of art journaling. The freedom of it. So I'm stamping it out here and there. So now I like my background, but I want a little bit of sheen, so that's a Martha Stewart Mother of Pearl, and it, you know, you can see through it. It's transparent. So I wanted just a little bit of sheen on there, and just to not so much grunge it up, but because it's kind of a bright page, but I just wanted to make it look a little bit cloudier. So I just it takes very little of that paint too to get that cool effect. But then I realized, I kind of don't like that shining. It wasn't what I wanted when it was done. So I wound up wiping some of it off, but only in certain areas. And I liked that it was more choppy. I shouldn't have done it all over the page. I should have just done it in like certain parts of it. And I could have used white gesso too, but I thought that might be too much of a contrast because I had other plans when I did that. And then with my blue and green, because I didn't dry it all the way, so it came back up when it got wet. But no big deal. I just added more gelatos on there and fixed it. So what I wanted to do is raid my scrap paper bin tonight for my art journal page. So these are all scrap papers that were a result of mini albums and journals that I had made for kids like a couple years ago. And you know, when you cut the paper, you know, and you got those strips left, I save them all because they're great for journaling, to use in journaling and for collaging and things like that. So if you're not doing that, save your strips and save your extra pieces because you can still use them. So in this piece I wanted to curl up and have some dimension on the page. So I'm taping the back to keep it all together because I wasn't sure where I was going to put it yet. I wasn't ready to commit, so I taped it all together, and then I'm just using my black gelato really quick and smear it along the edges to have some shadows. And then I added more because it needed a little bit more and taped it all together. I added the polka dots on each end. And then at first I was going to put it on the bottom, And I did actually put it on the bottom. So there's my ATG gun, and there I'm showing you that's the plastic piece inside there that I kept. When your tape runs out, hold on to those. Those would also, I'm going to use those for some other steampunk projects as well. I'm hoping it works out. My plan works out well, but we'll see. So I glued it down, and the end result doesn't result in that being there, but I was going to have it be like a city and then have flowers come out, but I got away from that. So I used this silhouette, and it's so funny because when I showed my husband this page, he was like, is that a silhouette of you? I was like, no. He was like, you do that when you get silly. And so I do this silly dance, you dance like no one's watching. He gets me. I just love it. But yeah, it's not a silhouette of me. I just went online and looked for silhouette pictures and copied it and printed it. That's on plain copy paper, so it's really flimsy. But I didn't want to go through putting it on paper and recutting it and all that good stuff. So I just painted it with the Distress black dabber and then put super gloss Mod Podge on it because I just wanted it to be glossy on the page. So I'm showing you there that I just cut a strip of the bottom. It was all taped together already, so it's staying on there. And there's a reason for that. You see how it's like a chain? It's kind of moving around. I have a thing. It's my thing. I want all my projects to have movement on them. So that's what that strip was for. So I left this in here to show you guys. I taped it down and then I picked it back up. And it left, pieces against the tape on there. But I wind up using, Score Pal or Score Tape. It's my favorite tape, my favorite adhesive to hold the edges down. So, but to get her glued down, that's way too much glue, by the way. It came out way faster than I thought it would. And that's Eileen's Turbo Tacky Glue. So I just glued her hips to that and just wiped off the excess. And then set her aside so that glue would dry. It dries really fast. I like that glue. It works out pretty well. Oh, I'm looking for the lid. It's a little tiny lid. So then you can see the remains of what that score tape picked up. It's the best tape ever, guys. I always say that. It's the best. So I'm just adding some more tape just to the edges because I want it to bow up and give it some dimension. Seeing where I like it. And then I added some foam tape to the back of her to get her, to give her some dimension as well. She needed to be lifted up to get the effect that I wanted. So I lifted her up and glued down just the edges. My thing is movement on all my projects, and this page is like just my personality. I mean, I don't care. I just have fun. If I want to dance, I'm going to dance. If I want to be silly, I'm going to be silly. But this, I love having movement on all my projects, whether it's a little dangle thing or whatever. So I wanted her to shake her hips on the page. I know, I'm crazy. I know, it's insane. But that's why I did that and gave her all that dimension. And I love that the Mod Podge is choppy on her too. It's just more sassy, I think, And that's a charcoal pen. I'm just adding some shadows in between each strip. It just looked a little unfinished and too choppy to me. So it only takes a second. And then I add that on there. Lift it up so that it's got some spring to it. So that's got some nice movement to it. And then her hips, check it out. She shakes her hips. know, I'm crazy. So I stamped with a little stamp set that I have. It took a long time, so I cut all that out. So dance like no one is watching. My husband's like, that is so you. It's like, yeah, I needed a me page, I guess. And you can see I just put little strips of foam tape on the back so that the words would have that dimension off the page too. So it's got depth. I really like how this one came out. It's so much fun. I could look at it all day. And there she goes, shaking her hips. That's my favorite part about this whole thing. So, and then this is super fast. I just have my white gel pen, and I am adding reflection marks on all the little circles. The light's coming from the right side, so I just kept all the reflections on the right side of each little ball thing. Sped that up and said, woohoo! I like it. She shakes her hips. It's very colorful. It's me. That has some movement. Her hips shake. Life is good. And then I probably could have done without that one little strip there, but she still got skills. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll load this on the ICWIC crew community as well. So thank you so much.